My name is Carol Mann. I'm a sociologist and historian. I live in Paris and I run an NGO called Women in War. Our aim is to talk about gender and armed conflict, principally, and to bring scholars and activists together. We organize yearly conferences in war and or emblematic zones. Sarajevo, Beirut, and this year it's in Yerevan, Armenia. And the subject this year is post-genocide, after genocide. It's going to be in September. How do you live with genocide? How do the generations after metabolize the experience of earlier generations? So, of course, we have the Holocaust, the Armenian genocide, Rwanda, Bosnia, some colonial massacres, Cambodia, and a few other unsavory massacres. The point here that could be asked is, when does a massacre actually get recognized as a genocide? Of course, there's the Lemkin definitions, but these things take so long. It is so highly politicized for an entity, for a political entity to recognize a genocide. It takes a long time because it's so linked to realpolitik. So in the meantime, just look at what's happening right now with the Yazidi populations and the religious minorities, including Christians, in the Middle East, who are being massacred, women raped, sold into slavery, living the most horrendous things in the hands of Daesh, aka ISIS. And what are we doing about it? What about what's going on in Turkey? Because the European Union has sold, or is trying to sell, the refugee issue, the world is keeping quiet about the massacres against the Kurdish population that are going on at the moment, which are completely unacceptable. Worse than unacceptable. I mean, this is quasi-genocide, and I think if this carries on and the world does nothing, it will be labeled genocide at one point. But when is the Turkish government ever going to be called to account for what its misdeeds and its crimes? And in the meantime, the show goes on, and women in particular, women as mothers, as daughters, as wives, as sisters, and as widows, mustn't forget the widows, suffer absolutely horrendous experiences throughout the Middle East. The Rojava, whom I met personally in Syria, the Rojava is the Kurdish province in Syria. There are 3 provinces, and they are sheltering Yazidi refugees. A number of them are Kurds. So they're looking after them, but that's insufficient. Living in a refugee camp is not a solution to anything or anyone. I mean, a real political solution needs to be done. Women's organizations and feminist organizations and human rights organizations have been looking into this and trying to do something, but there's a limit to what NGOs can do. This needs a political solution, naming names and seeing how this came about and what the solutions are, and no more compromises.